Where is the future of the ARK franchise heading? That is the topic of this video today, and I'm going to be covering various things that spell out what the future could be and whether that is good or bad. So let's get straight into it. The first thing I wish to talk about is a blog released by ARK's devs, Wildcard, last night, and it does not spell anything positive out. And it is regarding the next DLC of the game, which is the Center. Firstly, it's been delayed, which is really annoying because it was meant to release at the end of February, which is this current week. And alongside that, their wording of when it's going to be released is so vague. They have not given a date or even a time frame for when it will be released. However, the creature that was going to be released on it, the Gigantoraptor, is being added to the only map in the game, the island, on the 28th, which I suppose is something good. The issue with that is that it's not coming with a map that it was meant to be released with, which kind of sucks, but what can we do? It's really annoying. And as far as I'm aware, the center map is not going to come out anytime soon from how they phrased it. So that's absolutely shit. And another big thing they brought up in their blog last night was a creature that's being released on the supposed next DLC now, which is Scorched Earth, which is one of the actual story DLCs, which is why there's a bit of priority for it. And it is the creature called the Oasisaurus. Now, this is a creature that is included in a DLC bundle separate from Scorched Earth called the Frontier Pack. And this effectively gives you a few new skins as well as the ability to tame the Oasisaurus. And now the issue that people have already been seeing with it is the fact that it is effectively like a giant platform that you can fly about. In this blog, they've given more information regarding the dossier for it, and it is incredibly broken. Firstly, there is a rejuvenating pond or river on top of it, which means it can cleanse you of diseases and effects caused throughout the game, which is already broken in itself. And then second to that is that you can revive dead creatures, which sounds so incredibly broken regarding PvP, because if someone kills your tame, you can just go, oh, well, I want it back. And you go to the Oasisaurus and you revive it, which is so broken. Bear in mind, it's part of a extended DLC for Scorched Earth, which is fucking wild. And that's led to a good bit of controversy for the ARK community, and kind of it's made people question their motives. And in my opinion, their motives is money. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially with them doing that. The idea of a flying platform that you could just take anywhere with a lot of health is incredibly broken, though it's not really new to the ARK franchise, because there are creatures like the Quetzal where you can put a platform saddle on them and then just fly them about. However, the fact that this can now revive creatures and completely heal you of all the diseases that your character has is fucking wild. It's insane. And I think it kind of shows the intent of what Wildcard are doing with it, like it being financially motivated, which is kind of a shame. And I mean, I don't really create ARK content anymore, but this is something I did want to cover because it's close and dear to me, because I've got like 6,500 hours in the franchise, which whilst is not a proud thing to admit, it's a thing that's just true. And then third to that is the reviews on Steam. Initially, the reviews were mediocre at best because of the launch in the game last October. It was really buggy, it was incredibly unoptimized, and people just weren't having it. The recommended requirements were a 3080, an RTX 3080. However, the game did not run well on it at all. Even on medium settings, you couldn't achieve 60 FPS, which for a relatively expensive graphics card is just outlandish. But worse than that, people are still complaining about optimization because it's been 4 months since the release and it is still just a buggy, unoptimized mess, which really sucks, which has been quite a prevalent topic in the reviews, and the game has been very, very negatively reviewed. Overall, it's a 56% positive review rating out of like 55,000 reviews, which is such a bad consensus, really. And that very smoothly brings me on to my next issue of a personal complaint I have, which is the performance and lack of optimization. When streaming ARK, I had a lot of difficulties getting consistently high FPS because it was incredibly unoptimized. Piled on with me streaming that, which obviously is going to require some encoding capabilities from my GPU, which is going to take up some of its utility. However, in general, it should be able to run so much better than that, but it still doesn't. The whole premise of ARK Survival Ascended, the remake of the ARK franchise, is effectively to increase performance, to decrease the amount of bugs, to make the game just look so much more nicer, but it has not done any of that, which is really annoying. Well, except looking nicer. It does look nice, but it's at a cost of performance. Even a 4090, which is the most high-end consumer graphics card, doesn't get consistently high FPS on max settings, which really is a shame. When someone's dropping like $2 grand nearly on a graphics card just by itself, you expect it to be able to run nearly all games with decent efficiency. But with Ark Survival Ascended, it is just not it. And I suppose that can be defended by the game being in early access, but it just runs worse than the first game. And you'd hope with a more modern engine, a more modern rewrite of the game, you'd expect it to run so much better, but it doesn't. Now to look at a more company-wide issue. Snail Games, the parent company of Wildcard, who are the devs of Ark, their stock prices have recently dropped below $1, and that is kind of problematic for the company. And whilst it's now gone above that, it still is teetering on dropping below, which is, I suppose, a testament to how people feel about the franchise, and it's genuinely so problematic. And the general consensus towards a remaster continues to be seen like that through player count. Ark Survival Evolved has more concurrent players active than Ark Survival Ascended, and there are obviously multiple reasons why. There's only one map. There's a giant barrier to entry. If you want consistent FPS, you need a very high-end PC, but even then, the odds of it running it smoothly at high-end settings are incredibly low. I believe the Ark Survival Ascended player count is almost half of the Ark Survival Evolved player count, which truly is a testament to how poor this game is performing. That brings me on to what should Snail Games and Wildcard do? Personally, I want them to sell on the IP because they clearly don't have the funding nor the capacity to consistently output enough patches and updates, because there have been so many delays for DLCs by months and months. It genuinely cannot keep up this way without killing the franchise. And I know Wildcard have had a consistent history of late releases and delays, but this really is just problematic because the player base is very much dropping and there is very little that Wildcard are doing to fix this. And I hope they sell it onto a bigger company like Microsoft, because at least then it will have the funding it deserves and needs. The ARK franchise has a lot of potential, but the funding and the effort and the dedication it's being given by Snail Games and Wildcard is just not enough to keep it going. There's definitely a vision that the players have for the game to be amazing and for it to run well and look beautiful at the same time, but Wildcard and Snail Games just are not delivering that. And that will be the killer of the game, the developers, which you really just hate to see if you're a fan of the game. But yeah, that's the video. This is kind of me just freeballing it. I haven't really had much of a script, and I've kind of got a document on my right monitor about the key topics I wanted to talk about. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't really done art content in ages, but I just wanted to cover this. But thank you for watching. See ya.